Okay. Oh, wait. Okay. There we are. Hello. See if anybody's here. Looks like I have sound. Do I have sound? Is there sound? The little thing isn't moving. And stream. Send a message every 1 second. So let's see. Hi. So there's at least 2 who said they were going to come. I love having a stream that nobody watches. I love that. Okay, so I'll text. Let's see what happens. I don't know how to transfer that address to this. I don't care if I waste time because nobody watches my stuff anyway. Okay. Oh, yay. Hi, there's Keith. So can you hear me okay, sweetie? Because these little dots on this thing aren't really moving. I'm waiting to see him to answer. Hey, I got one. So I looked. Let's see. Let me see. I love that I have to use Messenger. But we'll get the hang of this or not. I don't know how many more of these there will be here. I'm one of the few people who actually read all of the new community guidelines, what YouTube is changing their stuff again on the 5th. And I heartily disagree with a lot that they're about to do. So I probably won't be streaming here. I've been looking into other venues, Twitch and Vimeo. And right now I'm leaning toward Twitch. We'll see about Vimeo. I'm not sure about Vimeo yet. I've been a member of Vimeo since Vimeo began, but I've never posted anything there. Just comments, but never a video. So we'll see. So, happy solstice. Are you there or no? Let's see. He says, oh, I just messaged in chat. Okay, so that's you. Okay. So I hope you can hear. You here. It's so great. Anybody else watching this is like, the fuck is she doing? I'm just trying to find out if my microphone's working right now. Let's see. Oh, I had 2 for a minute, but now I'm back down to 1. Okay. First thing, when I make videos, one thing when I watch my own videos, what I hate is that I look away a lot. And the reason for that is that since I have to use this camera on the computer right now, all I can see is my face. So it's like talking into a mirror. Now, unlike a lot of makers of videos, I don't particularly get off watching myself talk. And I don't spend a lot of time talking into a mirror. So I had an idea and I'm going to try it now. I'll do this because I think it needs that light. Oh, whoops. Okay. Nope. Wrong idea. Here's the other idea. The other post-it note. And put that bitch right there. And that way, I'm not looking at my damn face. Okay, so we're going to try this and see how this works. The lava lamp of infinite power is on. I hope you had a good solstice. I had an incredible solstice. It was what happened after solstice that murdered me. But I said in my last video that I went to the doctor because I wasn't feeling good. It wasn't right. And I knew that it was depression, but it wasn't clinical depression. It's what I get, which is situational depression. And, but I said, and I think I saw the part where I said it, and I know that I messaged friends and said, I'm feeling kind of yucky. I'm feeling kind of like I felt right before the kidney stone that turned into sepsis, and I just said, I think I have like another systemic infection. Well, the doctors, of course, are like, no, you don't have anything like that. It's your thyroid. And luckily, on Christmas Eve, crazy, but luckily, uh, something got in bed with me and grazed, it just browsed. And now I sleep with one hand under the pillow and the other is usually like this. And I had a series of bites down these fingers, down my hand, over onto this arm. So, I was probably like this, and I've got some bumps on my face. So whatever it was had plenty of time to, just munch out. However, on Christmas Eve, and I'm watching the bites, um, I got on the ones on my arm, got a red, it just raised up and had a red thing on them. And I was like, okie doke. And I showed it to my friend here. Let's see, what's your name this time? Giga Okun. Oh my God, am I going to say that right? And he's like, oh yeah, honey, you go get that looked at, because I don't live in Montana anymore. I live in Nebraska. And it's a different climate, it's a different biosphere, it's a different everything. So there's going to be different insects. And who knows? I was born and raised in Georgia, where we have brown recluse, black widows, and there's another one that they're trying to pass off now as a hobo, and we had it, and it was called a fiddleback. There's all kinds of poisonous spiders, but because of my weird allergies, I react strange to non-venomous insect bites, much less a venomous one. So up I got and off did trot to the ER. I won't go to, what do you call it? What is that? Medicare. What is it? Urgent care. I won't go to one of those. But I went to the ER and the doctor looked at it. And the first thing he said was bed bugs. And I think the reason he said that was probably because I kind of looked like shit, because I felt bad and I didn't some bitch is lucky I showered, and so I didn't look my best. And he may have thought, bag lady. And I was like, no. And then he's like, well, you don't know where you got your mattress. I went, as a matter of fact, I do. I only got it in October, and I got it. No, I only got it in November, and I got it through Amazon straight from Taiwan. So no, it's not bed bugs. And he was like, oh. But he said, you're obviously having some kind of histamine something, what he said. Because, I mean, if you're going to pay a doctor $100 and something, he needs to at least use big fucking words. And so he wrote me what I asked this other doctor for, and she's like, oh, you don't need that. We just need to worry about thyroid, was fucking antibiotics. And so I started on Christmas Eve. So that's 24th, 25th, 26th, 27th, 28th, 29th, 6 days later. Today, this morning, I woke up and went, oh, wow. Okay. You know how it is when the fever breaks and you got past something. I woke up and went, all right, the antibiotics got it. They've got it right now. And having had sepsis this year, I have to be especially careful about that. And I don't know why doctors aren't listening to me when I say that I had sepsis. I survived sepsis, the worst kind. And anyway, so day 6 of antibiotics, and I'm actually sitting up and talking. But for well over 2 weeks, I have not been talking to anybody because I just felt like shit. And I mean, it's been more than 6 days because I was sick before that. And it just tells me that I did indeed have a systemic infection again. And so now we got the science, I got the antibiotics, and I'm starting to feel better. So, hello, I'm making a video. Um, I had a couple of things, and I just don't know if I can talk about it in like 20 minutes. One of them is having been offline really most of December, not being any social type media stuff other than just to check messages. Because when I go back on Facebook, I've got like 100 PMs and that kind of thing. But reading through, scrolling through, I kind of scroll through and I just kind of get a vibe. And I've I might be getting a TikTok problem because I've really fallen into TikTok because it is just so much easier to lay back in bed and just do this. But I've seen a lot of this, so I wanted to discuss it. And that is this year. Oh, there's Tasha. A lot. I'm seeing a lot of posts and a lot of TikToks about people talking about being depressed over this holiday season. And I want to pose something to you that was a bit of an insight shown to me. I just need to figure out how to do it in 20 minutes. Okay. 2020. Oh my God. Fuck everybody. COVID, lockdown. Stay home. Don't go out. Don't go to work. Don't go here. Stay home. Try not to kill every other human on the planet. Well, then anybody knows that this has never happened, ever, with humans. But it did happen. And I watched other levels that were going on at the same time. Because to be totally isolated from other humans is how I live all the time. So that was not a big change for me. But I watched. And I will tell you, the mandatory lockdown was ordered whenever it was. People were staying home. Streets, you see pictures of empty streets in China, et cetera, et cetera. I clocked it. I watched. Within a matter of like 7 days, you know the Pink Floyd song, The Machine? Welcome to the Machine. And Todd Rundgren sang about the machine. There's Ghost in the Machine. The Police sang about the machine. That system that we were all raised in, this culture of human beings, I have purposely called the world of man. I've purposely called it that since the early 1980s. And it is because what humans understand as the world has almost nothing to do with nature, which is the world. So I have always separated those two in that way. And I've caught shit for it. People, that's not what it is. If humans made it, then it is of nature. No, it ain't. And all it takes is a little bit of awakening to see that. So, bam, worldwide lockdown. What the fuck? People en masse suddenly are no longer chasing. They're no longer racing for a schedule, racing for a job, working to earn money to get more stuff that's going to make them happy, to pay their rent, chasing. The first thing I noticed within the first weeks of lockdown was I could clearly separate out the people who could and could not be alone with their thoughts. That's the first thing I noticed. The second thing I noticed within those first few weeks, just say the first month, is the machine became less tangible. It slowed. It requires human energy to perpetuate. And that is the world of schedules, cars, pavement, chasing, chasing, chasing. Not thin enough, not tall enough, always keeping you off balance, keeping people running and racing and diving from one thing to the next. The thing that I've been preaching about for 40 fucking years hit the species square in the face like a bucket of water during lockdown. And people who had never in their adult life spent time alone, spent time in nature, other than, oh, well, we went to Tibet for a month. That's still keeping a schedule, chasing a time clock. These people, I have the sound, whatever, the filtering, but that's the heater. So, no, somebody didn't just crank up a lawnmower in the living room. People who have never spent actual time in nature. A week doesn't count. A month doesn't count. I'm talking time in nature. Who had never experienced reality beyond that, well, we're only in the woods for a week, or we're only here for a weekend, we only got that for here. Suddenly that's not there anymore. And the first thing I noticed people did was they were sleeping. The second thing I noticed that they did, and this is just looking across the boards and the social medias, is they started talking about dreaming. The third thing I noticed they did, and this was like into the second month, maybe the third month, is they started talking about creatures that they would see outside their windows, or a tree growing leaves, or watching clouds, that without realizing it, they had never had the time to see before. So when people are not putting their life force into keeping that machine tangible, it grows less opaque and it begins to look ghost-like. And that is what happened. And that is when certain individuals in power, perhaps painted orange, who spew excrement without thinking, was actually discussing forcing people to go back to their jobs. I mean, I heard him, my own self, in two different drivel runs, because I gave that man no power whatsoever. I clicked him off. I didn't watch anything he did. 2 times I heard him say, well, we're looking into, like, National Guard, going to get people to force them to go back to work. And it's always the poor who have to go to work. Why not? The poor is who fought the wars. I mean, literally, the first Roman armies were literally slaves that rich Romans paid, bought the slave, and sent to be in the army. It didn't work. The fourth thing I noticed months in, because they're using every tactic they can to scare people into going back into work. You've got to get back in the machine. Exactly, because the machine couldn't run without your life force. And it wasn't getting it. And I'm over in Butte, Montana going, la 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 la, yeah, da 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 da. Because to me, I'm like, yes. And this is what Pink Floyd wrote the song about. This is what Todd Rundgren wrote about. Even David Bowie wrote about it. And I enjoyed watching that because I've been outside the machine for a very long time. The next thing I noticed is people began discussing the nature in their immediate environment. even if it was in a city, because I'm thinking specifically of a friend who was in Italy, really locked down. And they interacted with each other across the alleys and all that. And then they started taming the pigeons and stuff. And they began interacting with whatever nature they could get near. And the machine faded and it slowed. And billionaires, and those who think that they will be billionaires too, they won't, but they think so, went bat shit sideways, doing whatever they had to do to convince people that you have to go back to work. I don't care if it's deadly. You have to feed this machine if we have to kill you and drag you out of your house to do it. And even those threats did not fort, because as a species, what I saw during, what year was it, 2020, during that lockdown, what I saw was a species shift and realize that life is far more than shiny cars and the next fad that's going to make them whole. And they began, I watched across the boards, across Twitter, I watched people begin to explore, well, then what is valuable? What does matter? I mean, really. And you will never know that if you don't return to nature. So, fast forward through all that. Number one, do this. Because holy fuck, some of us have waited 50 years before it to be across the board global. I don't care how big an atheist you are, that was way more than a coincidence. And we are all here at this time. We all, good, bad, indifferent, we all incarnated here at this time because this is what was going to occur. The momentum was already started. So the best that this country's government could come up with was, well, okay, we'll make these vaccines, and then you can go back to work, and we're going to pretend that this wasn't anything more than just a common flu. And there's a line in the movie that I'm not really a follower of, but it is in the very first Star Wars, not the very first one, but the very first one from 1976, that Obi-Wan says to Luke Skywalker, who's the bigger fool? The fool or the fool who follows him? So now, apparently, as a culture, we're going to pretend that this isn't all that deadly, that there's always been viruses, always been, there has, but there has not always been this many people. There has not always been all of the other aspects that are interplaying with this situation. So now fast forward through 2020. Okay, now we're all going to pretend it's not happening. We're not even going to wear masks anymore. Yay! Everything's back to normal. Get back on that machine, because it's still not running up to speed and you can still see through parts of it. Fast forward into holidays 2021. And then I see a lot of people talking about being depressed. Way more than usual. And from different areas and different people who I've never seen talk about, their mental, emotional state. And I want to give you this, and I want to give you what I hope was at least a good enough observation of what occurred during COVID. Because the last thing in the world they want is for humans as a species to realize that it's not money that's running it, it's the life force that's running things. And to remove that is just like taking your feet off the pedals of a bike. It's not going to go anywhere. And the ones who would be most upset about that are the only ones who are upset about that. The only ones upset about that are those who profit. So examine it and show me someone who doesn't profit from it, who is not saying, oh, well, now we've got this new vaccine, and so it's just another flu, when they're saying this new variant is it's a whole new ball game. And the only reason I know anything about viruses is I grew up with horses, and equines will get devastating viruses, and those viruses will mutate. So every year there's some new kind of equine virus that you absolutely have to go out and get your horse vaccinated, or he's going to drop the fuck dead. So that's why I was, kind of just gauging what I was gauging with a couple of friends of mine who are PhD microbiologists. One of them is a evolutionary microbiologist. I don't even know. They have so many letters on the ends of their PhDs, but that's who I've been bouncing stuff off of. And when they say, I just message them and go, so the new one, the new booster, or do I wait? Is because it's based on what I've experienced directly with equine viruses as a kid growing up, so over 50 years. And it is kind of sticking to the schedule that I kind of predicted that it would. So here we are, solstice, commercial, Christmas, and people are depressed. And a lot of people didn't put up decorations or they didn't celebrate anything. And they want to find out more about solstice. How did pagans celebrate solstice? Well, pagans isn't even the only culture, paganism like Druids and and Wicca and all that. They've been keeping up with solstice way before that. It has always been that nature guides the holiday. Always watch nature, watch the stars, watch the moon. It's always been that way. But people were talking about they're so depressed this year and I just didn't feel it. I'm not feeling anything. Well, no, because you saw through the machine. And it isn't so much that the majority of people saw through the machine and began to re-evaluate their space in reality and what they valued and what had worth to them. The entire population wasn't required in order to tip that point of power. And it tipped. In fact, I could go through my journal and tell you when it happened because you felt it. So, no, you wouldn't feel it this Christmas because colored lights and specific music for only this commercial holiday, you can't point to any of that does not require going out and interacting with society on a monetary level. Somebody's profiting from that. And there are people, well, I'm only giving handmade presents. Well, I bet they didn't. I bet they bought shit. So for me, I don't do anything, but I have decades of practice of not being in the machine, and whereas the majority of the culture doesn't. So they've got this holiday with a religion that they pretty much just don't believe in anymore because they saw through that too. And this holiday centered around all of these things that they have only in the last year realized that they don't really buy into that at all anymore either. And they just didn't know what to do. So, yeah, they're going to be depressed. I mean, how depressed were you when you found out about Santa Claus? Well, it's kind of like the whole species found out about Santa Claus. And I have fun playing with a lot of the pagan, and I'll say pagan because it is using the religious point of view of paganism, because it's a religion, you know. Um, I don't worship nature. So I say pagan. Um, it's kind of why the old ways, the old paths of power required the student to have a teacher, because these awakenings of the collect of conscious awareness, these awakenings is literally breaking barriers, and now you're in this whole new plateau. And if you don't know where to go or what to do, you're just going to walk off and then fall back lower than you did until the new energy seats. And that's not going to happen for the species until about the middle of summer. So it was really, really pouring it on too. I saw they were really working the propaganda to get out there and get your Christmas. We're going to do this parade and we're going to do this thing and we're doing this with lights. And I saw a lot of people going through the motions. I mean, I didn't see a whole lot of the practice. So give yourself a break, because this is a big leap in conscious awareness for the species. And it's going to take a little time for that expansion of awareness to seat itself, because you can have like an illumination and then go right back to being a dick. I could point you, I can't swing a dead cat without running into somebody like that. Well, I had this and I saw that and I know this and this is a, but yet they're still perpetuating the machine and doing all the same shit to other people that they always did. You can have those illuminations and go right back to the way you were. The, the trick is to have the illumination and then hold it and work with it and keep expanding it, do whatever to keep expanding it until that energy seats. And when that new level of awareness seats itself, then you can't jump back. Like we say online all the time, can't unsee. I look at it that the species saw through the previously seemingly in, inarguable tangibility of the world. They saw through it like a veil. And the majority of the population of the planet has no idea how to process that. And it's really not important. Yeah, Keith, you're going to have to tell me how to say that. But anyway, Okun says, it's easy to see what you're doing wrong, but it's hella hard to make those changes sometimes. Well, yeah. But the first thing you got to do is realize, you know, decide for yourself what's right and what's wrong. And then you can choose. But until you act on that new energy, when you act on new energy, then and only then have you decided. It's some of this is vocabulary that people I see, especially now that I'm looking at TikTok. Oh my God, we don't even get started with TikTok. But I'm seeing these people who are spiritual throw these vocabulary words around and overlay them, when in fact they are not overlayable terms. For example, will, willpower, willing. Those words are not interchangeable. They are three completely different states of awareness. In the movie Matrix, I think it's 3. I think it's Matrix 3. Neo goes back and talks to the oracle, and he goes, "Yes." Now she goes, "Do you know what that means?" They're on the park bench part, and she goes, "Do you know what that means?" He goes, "Yes, it means that now I have to choose whatever." She goes, "You do not have to choose. You are not here to make a choice. You are here because you have already chosen. What lies before you now is your decision of what you're going to do." So choice is not decision. Choice is intangible, it's mental, it's in the area of idea. Decision is the only way action can occur. It's the only way that you can make it physical. Don't believe me? Read your Plato. But my heater, I am reading a lot of people talking about that actually that they had thought about ending their dreaming awake. And I saw, where did I see it? Like something like, I think on TikTok they're calling it unalive. Give it a fucking rest. People are thinking about killing themselves, okay? Because they were so depressed over the holiday. Really? Did you really think about killing yourself when you found out about Santa Claus? Really? Because how did the Easter Bunny affect you at all? You're seeing the end of a state of awareness of the species, of a culture that has existed within a particular mythology. And they're recognizing what they were raised with for the mythology that it is. Now, everybody's free to choose their mythos. Well, at least in my book, they are. Um, I just chose to have no myth. Um, and fortunately for everybody, there's not many people like me. But the depression is what I call situational depression. And it is the realization on an inner level that people know that things are never going to go back the way they were. Those who are aware are like, yes, finally, because the way they were, if you remember my very first video I ever made on YouTube, I said, y'all, I don't think we're going to make it. Well, I kind of still don't think that we're going to make it, but we could exit with a lot more grace than we potentially can right now. So think about it in that fashion, that you're just seeing through gaslighting. It's got to be, I mean, if we survive as a species, these last 2,000 years have got to be historically noted as the most massive cultural hypnosis like ever. But the lockdown, people woke up out of that hypnotic trance and didn't know what to do with it. They either ran back to their religion and that's not working, or they ran to some new psychology and that's not working, or they ran over to this or ran over to that because that's all they've been trained to do. Chase this, chase that, chase this. Those who are atheists, then let shit evolve. Just shut up and let shit evolve. Prove it. Let something evolve without interjecting how you don't believe in any of it. I watched one of my teachers undo a leader of a spiritual group, this giant group. I watched him undo her saying 2 words. Because she was like, well, because what that means is you and I are equals now. Because I have this and you have your group and I know this and you know that. And he goes, really? And he never even looked up. He's like working whatever he had going on. He was either writing something. He didn't even look up. He goes, really? She goes, yeah, so we're equals. He goes, huh, okay, prove it. Woman, within 6 months, she was completely undone. And so was her group, and so was her big movement that she had contrived all these people into believing that they were like doing something of meaning. Prove it. If you think this, you think that, prove it. I do every day, every fucking day. It's not that big a deal because what you're proving, nobody wants to know anyway. I mean, look at all my viewers. But at the same time, there will be those who will watch and go, the machine? What do you mean by the machine? And those things I will write about and I'll blog it, but I'm not going to do a video about it because I don't teach anymore. But I do have a lot of shit that I've written over the years, and I'm happy to share in a blog, what occurred to me in this life experience in the center of this particular universe over here. But it's not important to me that anybody else do it, know it, believe it, or think it. Not anymore. During lockdown, during the heinous actions of that quote unquote election, what I saw people do to each other, and the side of people that it brought out. At some point during all of that, I was told, okay, it's good. You're done. These things no longer concern you. Now, one thing that I really like about my friend Tasha is she stays on her focus, and she does it better than me, because I did all the activism stuff and I did all the protest stuff. I mean, remember, I laid out of high school, like 10th grade, to go to a protest in downtown Atlanta. So I've been around for a long time in those groups, and so those kind of things influenced me. It's like a really old racehorse put to pasture too close to the track. Well, that's been taken care of now that my ass is now in another state. Those matters no longer concern me. So it's not my job to educate anybody. I can clarify things, and I'll do that through the blog, but not through a video. What I want to do in the videos is make art, and us make art together and have ideas about shit and do shit like that, creative stuff. So I'm checking out Twitch. I'm checking out Vimeo. There's another one called like Weibo or something like that. And there's another one. I can't think of the name of it. But anyway, there's 4. And I'm checking those out because I probably won't be posting on YouTube anymore. And it's because of their new policies. One of which is no matter anything that you post on YouTube and you make money, and yay, we want to see you make money because number one, they intend to make money off you making money. But number 2, they want to see you posting videos and doing and staying within their guidelines, because by you making the video, you automatically agree that they can have and use for their own profit anything in your videos. You have no say-so about it, and you don't get any money from whatever they choose to do with your content. And I'm like, okay, so YouTube is about to become a video gulag, pretty much, is what I'm thinking. Where we just take whatever we want, we will make our money, and you got no say-so. But go ahead and make your little videos. So I'm like, okay, well, if I'm going to make a video that nobody's going to watch, I'm going to make a video that nobody's going to watch, that some shithead isn't going to turn around and make $1 million off stealing something that spirit might say through me. I can't equate that with my definition of integrity, because I serve the living light, not YouTube, not money, not religions, the living light. And nobody's going to take it to turn it into a great little moneymaker. for individuals who are already so fucking rich off the poverty of others that they're obscene. I'm just not going to have anything to do with that. So when I do find another, you'll be the first to know, either one of you. But there will be probably maybe 30 people will come and watch the video. Yeah, I usually get about average of about that many. And we'll see where it goes from there, because there's some new stuff that I keep looking over here because the art stuff is over here. There's some new stuff that is going to happen because of who I moved next door to. It's going to help facilitate that with the cameras and all that, so that you can just have me making art. But I'm not going to have any of my creativity in any kind of venue that they can just take what they want and make their own money off it. And they don't have to pay me a portion, and at no part, and it just, all you got to do, everybody got the email at the first part of December. You can probably search it, their new agreement, and just actually read it. See, 5 years in a law firm fucked me up because I actually read that shit. So I'm going to show you my one Christmas present that I got, bought for me by somebody who I didn't even think liked me. Look how big he is. It's a big ass dragon. Look how red ass dragon. And look, you push his little hand. Watch. Wait. I just love that he's not singing Puff the Magic Dragon, that I just can't stand it. So I named him Michelangelo. Did not expect that at all. So that was such a great little surprise. And just so we're clear, I didn't buy or make this person anything for Christmas, but he did. It's so sweet and so unexpected. And now Booyah, who lives out, if you can see him, he is, there he is, sitting in his mushroom. That's an actual tree mushroom. Booyah, the other dragon. Now he's got, like, I don't know, maybe a girlfriend, maybe a boyfriend, I don't know. But he's got somebody to be with. And I said, all it needs now is to just shoot 6 feet of flame and we're fucking set. So that was very kind and a delightful surprise. So I didn't get any of the Christmas cards made because I just got sick in the middle of it. And I'm going to work on those over the next weeks. I might do them on these videos. And I think that about wraps it. I think that's good enough. It's just give yourself a break, because there is depression that is cyclical, that takes chemistry to make it balance out somewhat for those who suffer from that kind of chemical imbalance in their brain, actual fluids in the mushroom that makes it not fire electrically. And then there is what I call situational depression. And that is usually what happens after trauma, after a tragedy. That does not require, always does not require medication. It will often require somebody to talk to if you don't know how to work that stuff out on your own. But it doesn't require drugs and self-diagnosis and carrying around some other label. You just went through some deep shit and now you're processing it through your body. Is pretty much what I see the majority of people who talked about this Christmas holiday making them feel depressed. It kind of is and it kind of isn't, because all they saw was through it. And now, if you want to take the view from left field, now this bottomless, endless potentiality of choice and decision is opening up for them. But there is a phrase in some old, it could have been Herodotus, said something about, and the slaves once freed stood motionless for a day and a night, frozen into paralysis by the endless choices their newfound freedom laid before them. I'm not quoting him dead on, but something like that. It could have been in the Iliad. I'm not sure, but it's really old. But yeah, when you reach that new conscious awareness, you will freak out because there's all this new data coming in your head. There's all this new awareness. You have more energy or whatever, and you don't know what to do with it. Well, what you do with it is you do everything you can not to jump back into the old awareness, because the old awareness will never be the same. You will be forced to pretend that you didn't have the higher awareness. So, food for thought. I hope that actually explained it. Did I actually explain anything, guys? Um, it's just something that's been on my mind. They might not even be right. They might not even be listening, but I hope that kind of explains it. And like I say, if you want to know more about it, whatever, you can message me or leave a message here, and I'll find all the shit that I wrote about it, and I'll do a blog. And that way you got something you can look at, something you can read and go back to and reference. And then, have at it. Come at me. It doesn't really matter because I don't really care. What I know, I earned. I didn't read it in a book and then pretend that I knew it. I earned what I know. And first thing that I know is this: what I know ain't for everybody. It takes a particular kind of spirit to live this way. But every now and then we can explain stuff in a way that people go, okay. So, wishing everybody a better Gregorian calendar New Year, as we start marking down the longer days and shorter nights as we approach the next big cycle, which will be equinox. All right, so that's enough for this time. It's twice as long as I wanted it to be, but oh well. Ciao for now. Thanks for showing up. I love you guys. And I don't know, hit a like button. Isn't that what you're supposed to say? Yeah, I'm not much of a follower, so I don't know all those little terms. And watch for me on TikTok because I'm going to start TikToking, so that should be strange. And thank you, Tasha. And this video and the other videos would not be happening were it not for Tasha, because she keeps at me to do it and to interact when I don't want to interact with anybody. And she knows that I'm just of this spiritual space that I could very easily just go and not feel bad about it at all, because I've already went a couple of times just this year, and I know the way. So she keeps me doing this to interact, and so follow her. Do if you post a feeling to your stream, and then you got to tell me how to say this. Giga Okun T emo or something. You too. Oh, hi, Zoe Dawson. Well, hello, Zoe Dawson. Zoe Dawson. Zoe or Zoe. Wow. Hello. VOAFYL. Wonder what that means. Y'all know what that means? Because if I just got cussed, I just proved what I said. But anyway, happy Gregorian New Year. I'm probably going to get a new heater before spring. And until next time, sweet dreams. Bye.